stuff. Beautiful. Notice how I haven't had to use a saw, I haven't had to use an axe, haven't had to baton anything with my knife, right? All that stuff. Hey, it's Greg here with Outdoors on the Cheap, and today I'm gonna make a fire. I can tell you, as a reasonably experienced outdoorsman, I mean, I'm not the greatest man who ever lived or anything like that, but reasonably experienced outdoors person, pretty good at making fires, regardless of the conditions. There are a few things I find more irritating, that try my patience more, than watching someone, you take someone with you in the woods for the day, watching someone try to make a fire who doesn't have a lot of experience doing it. Sure, after they've blown a whole book of matches or burned half the butane in your lighter or whatever, right? And, you know, they've spent time blowing and fanning them, you know, eventually they get it going. But man, if they just watch like one YouTube video on how to light a fire, boy, they could be saved a lot of grief. So I'm going to show you a really simple way to get a fire going here. And I don't mean to, you know, don't mean to have a go or anything like that. I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad. It's just starting a fire should be pretty, a very matter-of-fact, functional thing to do that doesn't take a lot of work. So I'm going to take you from start to finish with a really simple, there's lots of different ways to get a fire going. The way I'm going to show you here, called the lean-to setup, lean-to fire or lean-to fire, there's different terms. It's basically a way to just get things lit. And then you can adapt it to whatever sort of, there's many different ways to build a large fire. You can adapt the lean-to system to a lot of different ways to build fires, but it's a great way to just get things started. And so let's say you're on the trail and you're, you know, it's around lunchtime and you want to stop and have lunch. It'd be nice to have a fire. You can, you know, warm your, let's say maybe you got your fingers wet and your fingers are cold, or your feet are wet and you want to warm your toes up, or you want to make hot chocolate or make a soup, or, you know, geez, when I'm out in the woods, if I'm out for the day, I actually love, if I've got sandwiches, I like sort of toasting my sandwich, even if it's a peanut butter sandwich. I like toasting it over a fire. I just like the fire taste, I guess. And I usually like to make a tea when I'm out for the day. I just like doing that. It's just part of the process. If I've got the time, if I'm out for a full day, lunchtime is you know, I don't never rush it. It's a leisurely affair. Anyway, you need a fire to do all that, so let's get started. All right, so for whatever reason you've come to a spot where you want to, you know, sort of hang out and have a little break. I like this spot because there's a bit of sun on me, so you know, this time of year when it's below zero, it's nice to have some sun. You don't want to be in the shade when it's below zero. So I just put a couple spruce boughs on a rock here. It's about the right height off the ground to have a, you know, like a chair, and I got a little tree there to lean on. So, you know, it's not so bad. It's a reasonable place to take a break and have a lunch. And I want to build a fire right around here, this spot here. So I need to find some stuff. I look around, and there's plenty of dead trees and dead wood and dead branches and stuff like that. So I'm going to gather a few things, and I'll get back to you in a minute. I've mentioned in previous videos there's a lot of trees that can just come down pretty easily in the woods here. This tree looks like a good candidate. So let's see if I can, it feels pretty hollow. I think this is a tree I can break up into you know, pieces of wood. If I just put it here. Let's see here. Where can I stomp on that? Just give it a bit of a stomp. Yeah, beautiful. Right? I mean, I got a saw, but why? You know, this is just like beautiful stuff here. Why use the saw if I don't need it, right? So I'll bring these large pieces back to where I want to make the fire. That way I don't have to do as much work. This should be enough for a lunch fire, this one tree. All right, so I got my fuel, right? It's just that one tree. It's just the right kind of dead tree that I can smash it and break it, and it's nice and dry on the inside. So it should burn fine. I mean, sure, is this top quality hardwood? No, it's an old dead spruce tree, but it's been dead for a long time. It's been standing, it's got no bark, so it's completely dried out. So now I just need some stuff that will take a flame really easily. All right, I think that's good. All right, now the lean-to fire, the idea is that you've got a wall that you're leaning everything against. Let me zoom this in a bit. All right, so you've got a wall that you're going to be leaning material against. Now you're going to make a bit of a, it's always good to have a bit of a floor, right? Just put some stuff on the ground. Because the ground's wet, right? So you don't want to try starting a fire with the whole thing sitting on, snow. So you just take the stuff and twist it and break it up a bit, put it on the side like this. You're just preparing you're preparing your fire materials. You're getting things ready. So that once you've got it lit, that one doesn't break, so why bother? Yeah, it's nice and loose there. Nice material. Very, very kindling-like, right? That's good stuff. Beautiful. Notice how I haven't had to use a saw, I haven't had to use an axe, I haven't had to baton anything with my knife, right? All that stuff. I mean, in certain circumstances you do, but at least where I live, it's rare that that's necessary. All right, so I got all my fire materials ready to go. Put them aside here. So with the lean-to fire, the idea is that you've got some stuff that's going to take a flame pretty readily, right? In this case, it's a combination of old man's beard and really, I should take my gloves off for this, really fine tips from a fir tree or a birch tree that are dry, right? This really fine stuff. And you've got that against something that resembles a wall, okay? You can build it up a bit. That's the idea, okay? Now, since you've got a wall, you start leaning things. It's called a lean-to fire, right? You lean things against the wall. That will light easily. Just a handful of things, right? That'll light easily. And that'll bear some weight. A little bit of snow on that. Let's clean that off. Okay, like that. Then you throw other stuff on top. As it starts going. So for now we just have it like that. Okay, so now I can get my hand in underneath all that stuff that's going to ignite. This little lean-to I've created is going to keep the fire that oh geez, I forgot about this stuff. All this stuff's going to ignite, it's going to start burning, but it's not going to fall down and smother the stuff that's burning underneath. And I can keep adding stuff to it and adding stuff to it, and the fire will build up heat. It'll dry off the stuff that I've thrown on top, and it'll just work really easily. So let's fire it up and see. Right, so all I got to do is, I can use my lighter. I don't know how well this old man's beard is going to flame up today. Hold it in there for a second. All right, so the old man's beard has caught, right, and it's starting to ignite other things. Notice I'm not blowing on this, I'm not fanning it, I'm not doing anything. I don't need to, right? Now we just keep, while that's happening, just keep adding stuff to the fire. We don't have to worry about the fire falling in and smothering it. But we want the initial fire that we've created here to warm up. You know, any moisture, I mean, nothing's perfectly dry out in the woods, especially where I live here. But we want that initial fire that's underneath to create the heat that's needed to melt the stuff underneath. Right now I can just stand back a little bit. If you stand really close to a fire, the smoke will tend to go right for you. So you get back a step or two. Just one step should do, right? So I'm here now, right? You see my hand, yeah? Maybe I should get a different camera angle, see if I can do that quickly. right? So that wasn't a lot of work. I got a nice warming fire. I can really go as big as I want. And throw that stuff on there. It's not going to cave in. I'm standing back about a stride from the fire. I can feel the heat off it. Definitely feel the heat. I can feel the warmth right now. This is the right distance. If you're really close to the fire, the smoke from the fire will tend to come right towards you. It's also good when you're setting up your fire to get a sense of which way the wind's going. I mean, it usually goes, you know, west to east sort of thing, or whatever, but today it seems to be going that way, which is like from the north to the south. So it's good to sit perpendicular to the fire, perpendicular to the wind. So it's going to carry off any smoke, so you're not being, you know, harassed or irritated by that. So now I've got a lovely fire going. I can warm myself, I can heat myself up a little bit, I can make a lunch, I can reorganize this fire to whatever configuration I want for cooking and that sort of thing. Not going to get into that in this video here because it's just not what this video is about. But the main thing is we didn't spend a lot of time fanning, blowing, frigging around, right? We set the fire up, we put the really soft fluffy stuff underneath the teepee, or not, I keep saying teepee. We put the really soft fluffy stuff underneath the lean-to. And we put the stuff that lights easily on the lean-to, and just heavier and heavier and heavier, right? And the great thing about this lean-to is as these things burn and collapse, the heavier stuff will fetch up on that wall we made, so the fire will continue to have good airflow, burn really, really well, and just be really easy to manage, right? So yeah, that's the lean-to fire. It's the ideal fire for a quick, easy, you know, warm yourself up without too much messing around type fire. And it's the ideal fire if you're the one setting up the fire, if you want to convince people you know what you're doing, this is the one. You know, you say, oh, I'll light a fire, and 2 minutes later you got this. Right? Instead of 2 minutes later you're on your knees blowing and frigging around with stuff and things are going out and you're throwing away matches and, you know, looking like a fool sort of thing. Yeah, this is the fire you want to go for. It's the ideal fire also if there's lots of dead trees kicking around, dead standing dry trees that are, you know, easy to push down and easy to get a hold of, and you don't really need, I mean, I've got a folding saw, I've got everything I need here, but for a fire like this, you don't want to be felling good trees, you want to be using dead trees that are, you know, half rotted but dry. Right, then you got a nice easy fire. So now I can just sit back, take it easy, enjoy myself. So, the lean-to fire. Great fire, easy to make. Go out, give it a shot, play around, try it. I think you'll find it's just a great way to make a nice, you know, lunch type, you know, shore lunch or whatever you want to call that. A nice warming lunch fire where you're gonna, I got enough fuel here. You know, if I hooked up a tripod, there's also different ways you can sort of set it up to be like a, for cooking, right? But I've got enough fuel here to boil water or to fry something or to heat up beans or whatever I want. I've got just enough fuel here. And then of course there's plenty more fuel kicking around. But that one dead tree was almost all that was needed to get this thing going and have a really nice fire. This will burn for a while. So I hope you found that interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. If you can't subscribe because you don't have a YouTube account, one solution is to get a YouTube account, but if you can't be bothered to do that, this channel, Outdoors on the Cheap, also has a Facebook page and a Twitter page. So you can follow me on one of those, and whenever I make a new video, I post a notification on those two social media outlets as well. So that's a good way to know when I've dropped a new video. So I hope you found that interesting. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, enjoy the outdoors on the cheap. Thanks for watching.